All right, here we go, guys. Another year. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out, for covering our team. And it's time to get started. So we're excited. We had a good training camp. As I always say to the players, you have a good summer program, that gives you a chance to have a good training camp. We have a good training camp, it gives you a chance to have a good season. So we've had a good summer and we've had a good training camp. So now it's on to the season. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
Greg, year three, you kind of had your chance to put more of your stamp on the program. What's different about this team heading into this year?
Well, I think anytime you continually go through cycles and the same people are going through them, you get better, right? So we had some coaching changes on the defensive side of the ball, so you don't get that. But then maybe you gain a little bit of new ideas, things like that. The players that have been through it for 2 or 3 years, I think that's the key. They now have the culture. They are the ones who share the culture with the players on the team, the younger guys, the new guys. That, to me, is the key. And when you talk about culture and people want to use the word tradition, tradition isn't singing a song or ringing a bell. Tradition is what the older players pass down to the younger players.
You settled on a plan at quarterback at this point, or how are you kind of planning to use that this week?
No, we haven't settled yet on who will start. I think they all had good training camps. We're going to do whatever it takes to win. So, I don't know how many you'll see. Whatever it takes.
What would it take to maybe play 2 quarterbacks in a game?
Like I said, whatever it takes to win, we're going to do. So if I feel like that gives us the best chance to win, and I say I, Sean, myself, the offensive staff, if we feel that's the best thing to win the game, then we'll play multiple guys. If not, we'll play one. You just got to, we're such a young team and we're figuring out who we are. This practice, we got 3 practices this week that are really important. You get 25 practices leading up to the first game. So, this is about 1/8 of our practices we still have left to prepare for this game, and they're going to be very important.
Greg, at the beginning of camp, you said Aaron Young was doing some things but not everything. What's his status going into this game?
It's not certain yet. We're going to see. Again, these 3 practices will be big on what he's able to do and what he's able to do at the level we need to do to win the game. So there's really two questions. What can he do, and can he do it at the level that we need to win the game? And we'll figure that out. But we got a good mix. We're trying to figure out who's healthy, who's not, who's ready to go, and we'll have somebody to carry it.
Greg, a lot of familiar faces on the opposite sideline this Saturday at Boston College. Just what is your relationship like with Jeff and John McNulty in the years since you guys have coached together? Yeah,
there's a lot of good friends on that sideline. You're right. I'm really proud of Jeff. I knew Jeff would be a head coach. Jeff was great for us here at Rutgers. He was also great for us at Tampa Bay. You talk about Tem Lukabu, who was with us in both places, John McNulty, who was with us in both places. Those are really good football coaches and really good people. And then there's others, too. There's some of our former players. Savon Huggins is up there. He's doing a great job. I'm proud of him. Steve Shimko, who, coached in the NFL and now is back in college. So it's really good. And there's a guy that worked with me at Ohio State, was my graduate assistant there, Matt Turin, who handles the special teams and works in the secondary. He's an excellent young coach. So there's a lot of familiarity. It'll be a little strange because, I care about those guys, but when you're playing in a game, you're competing and you're trying to win.
What stands out about Phil Jerkovich when you watch him on film?
Very talented quarterback. I mean, he's a NFL quarterback, which when you say that means a lot to me. He's got a big arm. He's very mobile, very athletic. So when things break down, he extends plays. He doesn't just run to run. He extends. Has a really good feel for the pocket, a very good presence in the pocket. And I know John, having worked with John is really a good quarterback coach and a guy who makes a quarterback very aware of rush patterns, escapability, how to extend plays. So I'm sure that there'll be improvement there as well.
I heard someone say the other day that year 3 is the new year 5 for a coach in the progress of the program. Do you agree with that, with where the sport is now? And what do you think what makes year 3 important for you personally to show where this program's at?
Well, I don't know what the new year 5 is. I'm not sure about that. I get the saying. I get what people are trying to say. This has been such a weird ride that I haven't really tried to, with COVID and the situation, where we came in with the program. So it wasn't a perfect situation when we got here, and then COVID struck. So I'd like to say, full bore ahead, year 3. Let's make sure. I'm not getting into any of that. At this stage of my career, I enjoy coming to work every day. I enjoy these kids. I enjoy our coaches. We work really, really hard, and we're getting better. And it's just a matter of, with this young group, how fast will we be good enough to win? I don't know. Will it be this week? I know this. We're going to go up there, and we're going to let it fly. These kids love to play together. This staff loves to coach together. We're not going to play scared. We're just going to let it fly. And if it's good enough this week, it will be. If it isn't, we'll keep getting better. We'll be a much better team in November than we are today.
Greg, what did you see from Gavin this summer in his first camp that impressed you? And what else do you need to see from him? Like, are there areas of growth that you really want to see whenever he gets on the field?
Well, yeah, there's tons of areas of growth. I mean, you're talking about a freshman at the quarterback position. There's so much to learn at the quarterback position. So I just think his overall understanding of everything that's going on, when you're really playing the position at a high level, much like Phil's playing it at right now at Boston College. He knows everything about the offense. He knows where everybody's supposed to be. When you get to that level, and we've had quarterbacks at that stage here, when you get to that level and you have the physical gifts like Gavin does, that's a lot of fun. Right now, certainly his physical gifts are ahead of his understanding of just by pure time he's had to learn it. But he's very, very gifted, and he does love football, and he works at it. So when you have that combination, it's just a matter of time.
Great. Opening up against a Power 5 opponent on the road, can you talk about the pros and cons of that for your team?
Well, I guess, I don't really think. I mean, whatever the schedule is, you play it, right? So I guess the pros would be what people would say is there's an urgency, you're playing. But I always thought opening game, there's always an urgency. I don't care who you're playing, because you haven't played together as a team. It's college football. This team is quite different than the team last year. And, you only get, unlike every other sport, you only get 12 opportunities to do it. So every opening game I've ever been a part of, no matter who we played, I've been incredibly excited. You can hear we're having meetings here. That was the end of that one. So they're moving on at 1:10 today, huh?
Coach, Ireland Brown has made a lot of transitions and was voted the most improved player in the spring. What did you identify that suggested he should make the switch from offense to defense?
Well, yeah, it wasn't so much what I identified. It was really what we needed. I mean, it's been no secret that has been our toughest spot, the offensive line, since we arrived. And Ireland had the ability to do it, we thought, and certainly that's proven out to be true. I mean, he's become a good offensive lineman, and I'm grateful that he's here. And I know it's special for him because he's going back to where he initially went to school. He transferred here from Boston College, so hopefully we can keep him contained there because he's touching the ball every play, so we can't get too excited.
Another nostalgic question, but Syracuse last year, Boston College this year, some old Big East flavor. Does that add anything special for you, having played those teams so many times, going back there?
No, I mean I guess the answer is supposed to be yes, and the old. Not really. We play in a very, very demanding league, a new league, one that, as you guys know, I believe that's where we've belonged. So when you get out of conference, it really is it's different, right? You're preparing for the Big Ten schedule. And so whoever we have, I didn't have a choice in what happened in the past. I do going forward, and I certainly have a scheduling philosophy that I believe in. But this is all done well in advance.
Greg, going back to the beginning of camp, you mentioned that the linebacker room is super green. I wanted to ask if there's any update on the Singleton thing, and on top of that, what's the development like on that room throughout camp?
Well, there's no development on Singleton other than what I told you. We're working on it, that's for sure. We're not just going to give up. because I truly believe that's not, what's happening to him isn't right. But that's just my opinion. I'm not the governing body. But as far as the room, they're getting better. They just don't have game reps. There's not a lot of game reps going on there. So, they'll figure it out. They're good players. They're going to figure it out. It's just sometimes until you do it in a game, you don't know exactly what it feels like. And I think practice is really important, but I think, games are just a little bit different.
Just want to start to follow up with the question what Brian had asked. Your scheduling philosophy, would you prefer not to have regional opponents this early in the season?
Oh, I don't know if it's this early or not. We align with our league. That's who we play. So that's the other teams in our area, other than Maryland, which is in our league, and Penn State, the other teams are in a different league. So is that the best thing for Rutgers football? That can be debated. But I'm not going to get into my scheduling philosophy. You'll see it when the games get announced, because there's negotiations and there's things like that. I'd hate to negotiate against myself up here at the podium.
And just overall, you're starting opening of season. Do you still get butterflies? Are you still in that way before
Yeah.
Even
If you don't, it's probably time to. And again, it's excitement. I think people. I tell our players all the time, there's no reason to be nervous unless you're unprepared. Now, excited is kind of a similar feeling to nervous, but excited is a positive. Nervous to me is a negative. And I don't want any of our players to be nervous. I want them to be excited. So those butterflies to me are the excitement. I believe that. But if you're not prepared, you can't fool yourself. I talk to our players all the time about that. There's only one way to be truly prepared, and that's put in the hard work and get prepared and do the things that you're supposed to do. And that's when I say go let it fly. That's what I mean. Like you should play the game with no apprehension, no fear. I should coach it with no apprehension, no fear, unless you're not prepared. Then you've earned it. You've earned the fear.
You said a couple of weeks ago, just going back to the linebackers, that they have to gain experience and minimize mistakes. I mean, what's the biggest key that they need to take to the field on Saturday and all season, really, to keep those mistakes at a minimum? And I know there's a lot of keys, but what's kind of the biggest one that they really need to focus on?
Well, linebacker, and I played the position, right? So whatever position you played as a player, you usually have just a tad better understanding. Linebacker to me is a position. Thank goodness they didn't do the stuff they're doing now on offense. Back when I was playing, or I don't think I would have played, but there's so much for them to process. They're intimately involved in the run game. They're really involved in the pass game. The conflicts that they have, run-pass conflicts, are never been more than in this day and age, right? I remember when I came back from the National Football League, came back to college coaching, I'm watching the tape, and then finally one of those plays, those power reads came up, and I was like, whoa, what was that? Run that back. Because you literally have to defend 3 plays on 1 play. And that's college football nowadays. So it's gotten really, really hard to play the position. I think Corey Heatherman, our new linebacker coach, has done an unbelievable job getting these guys ready. He has simplified. He's made it, I think he's conceptualized things for them that but again, as I said, they haven't done it yet. So until they do it, I shouldn't say they haven't done it at all. They've played a little bit, but I mean, to be the guy is different than to have some spot time, But look, guys, it's going to be a good year, and I appreciate you covering us. I know that for a lot of you, we've known each other for a long time. For some of you, it's new, but look forward to it, and I will see you guys, or see most of you at least, up in Boston. All right, be safe.